This is Samsung's brand new Galaxy Book 6, and this is the M4 MacBook Air 15. Now, these are both targeting the same buyer. Very similar price range, but one of them costs more and actually delivers a lot less. Now, I've been living with both of these for the past little while, and while there is one area where Samsung kind of genuinely surprised me, the difference between these two is wider than I expected. The Galaxy Book 6 is a 16-inch laptop. It's using Intel's Core Ultra 7 355. This is Series 3. This is a Panther Lake CPU, one of the weaker ones. It's not the X7 or X9, so it doesn't have that really good B390 iGPU. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, and it costs around $1249. The MacBook Air 15 has an M4 chip. It's from last year. 16 gigabytes of memory, same 512 gigabytes of storage, and costs $1099. That's $150 cheaper. Usually Apple is the one charging the luxury tax, but Samsung is asking you to pay more for less, and I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna start with everyday general performance, the stuff you actually feel the second you turn on the laptop for the very first time. And this is measured by testing out the single core clock speeds. This determines how fast a laptop feels. The M4 Mac hits 170, the Galaxy Book 6, 116. That's a 47% lead for Apple. Single core is why the Mac feels instant. Opening up apps, loading web page, it just reacts faster. You take something like Speedometer 3.1, which tests your browser's performance. The Mac scored 52, Samsung 36. Again, 44% faster. If you live in the browser, the Mac is objectively more fluid. Speaking of getting the most for your money, this part of the video is sponsored by Walmart Canada. If you're shopping for a new setup, laptops, desktops, or even a TV, Walmart Canada has a seriously solid selection right now. They've got options at every price point for everyone. And here's the best part. When you buy select electronics, you can get an extra 2 years of coverage and tech support through Walmart's new extended care. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing that you're protected for longer. If you're interested in checking it out, there'll be a link in the description down below so you can learn more. All right, here's the thing. Samsung makes the best displays in the world, period. But I am so confused about the screen that Samsung placed inside of their laptop. Like, it's great at 16 inches. It's bigger than the 15 in the MacBook Air. It's full HD plus, but not QHD plus. 16 by 10, they're both the same aspect ratio, and they're both IPS. But the color accuracy, the color gamut, the screen brightness is so much better on the MacBook Air. 500 nits versus just over 300. 2.3 million pixels on the Samsung versus 5.3 on the Mac. On a 16-inch laptop, a 1080p display is just not enough in 2026, especially at this price. The viewing angles on the Galaxy Book are also just not as good compared to the MacBook Air. But look, I'll be honest with you, regardless of who you're a fan of, I think at this price point, both displays should be OLED. Okay, so these are what the webcams look like on both the MacBook Air and the Samsung Galaxy Book 6. It looks like the Book 6 is completely blowing out the left side of my face, which is weird because it's further away from the window, whereas the MacBook is actually closer. It looks like the MacBook is doing a much better job with the color. Now, it is quite dark in here, so both webcams should be struggling, which is kind of a good test to see how it does in subpar light conditions. I'm using nothing but natural light. It's just a cloudy day, so not much I can do. Either way, you guys let me know which one has the better quality and which one has the better sound. But we got to talk about the design because they're very different in a few ways. The MacBook is more refined. It has rounder edges. It feels smoother in the hands. It's lighter at 3.3 pounds. The Galaxy Book is a lot heavier, a lot clunkier. It's over 4 pounds. And when you hold it, the actual feel is super sharp. Like, there's no refined edges. But here's the thing, like, when I was opening it up, the hinge is so tight when it's closed that it requires you to place your second hand on the bottom of the deck so you can pry open the display. And like, it's great that a hinge is tight because it doesn't wobble as much, but the wobble when both of these are open is pretty much identical. A smooth hinge just gives you a more premium feel to the laptop. The other thing you'll notice is that Samsung is obviously taking a lot of design cues from Apple. If you look at the keyboard, it reminds me of the MacBook Pro keyboard. All black, that's sort of styled, but very different at the same time. Even though both share the same travel distance of around 1 millimeter, the keyboard on the Galaxy Book just feels like there's less click or less travel. It's just not as sharp. You also have a lot more flex on it. Like this thing really flexes down compared to the MacBook Air. Typing experience is better on the MacBook Air. I'm not saying the MacBook Air has the best keyboard. I don't think MacBooks in general have the best keyboards, but out of these two, I'm pushing towards the Air. Also, the other big difference is the touchpads on the bottom. Like they're completely different. Like the one on the Samsung is still using a mechanical touchpad. They saved the haptic ones for their Galaxy Book 6 Pro and Ultra. And yes, it's a fine mechanical touchpad, but there's a lot of diving space, right? Like it's just not consistent is what I mean. Like you push on the bottom, there's more depth compared to at the top. Like there's just no click at the top compared to the bottom of the touchpad. The Apple touchpad is haptic. It's the gold standard. This thing is so much better. It's wider, it's taller. It's just a lot better to use, you know? And when you're paying this kind of money, it should have a haptic one as well. Now, I should also mention that both of these laptops have a fingerprint scanner to log you in, which is kind of handy. But the one thing that completely threw me off was the speaker situation. And look, Apple's speakers are going through the keyboard, whereas Samsung's are going through the bottom of the laptop. Like there's speaker grills there. You know what? Have a listen for yourself and you guys let me know which one sounds better. Now let's circle back to performance because I'm not done here. The MacBook will throttle if you're really pushing it to its full potential. The Galaxy Book has fans inside. The MacBook Air is fanless. So it doesn't matter how hard you're pushing the MacBook, it's always going to be silent. And here's the thing, the Galaxy Book 6 is not a loud laptop at all. Even with the fans on, you're gonna hear them under load. They are audible, but it's not like a gaming laptop where it's very distracting. Now I did game on this, and look, when it comes to 3D Mark Steel Nomad, the MacBook Air is definitely much faster than the Galaxy Book 6. The integrated GPU inside of here, and you'd think with Panther Lake it would be really fast, is actually a step backwards in this specific SKU. The performance on this is very comparable to the integrated GPU that was with Meteor Lake from a few years ago. It's just not a good integrated GPU overall. And that's why I scored 25 FPS on the MacBook Air in Cyberpunk compared to only 19 on the Galaxy Book 6. Like that is crazy to me. But yes, the Galaxy Book 6 will obviously give you more access to games because the library is significantly bigger. Like I played Overwatch on the Book 6 and Overwatch is a very optimized game. It runs well on older integrated GPUs. And even though I was getting 50 to 60 FPS on medium settings at Full HD+, there were a lot of frame drops. It was just not a playable experience. Like at the end of the day, both of these laptops are not gaming laptops, but Apple's MacBook Air does give you better performance. And you can see this in things like Blender Benchmark. It's just double the performance of what the Galaxy Book offers. The CPU and iGPU inside of the Galaxy Book 6 feels below mid-range. But the one thing that kind of blew me away was when I tested Mozilla Firefox Compile. The Mac took 19 minutes to compile. The Samsung Galaxy Book 6 took 63. That is ridiculously long. That's longer than what AMD CPUs from last year are doing. That's longer than Lunar Lake, which is crazy to me. Like Lunar Lake was always an efficiency play from Intel, but it has better performance than this in some ways. A Lunar Lake laptop would be in the 50s. This is just longer, which is absolutely wild. But the one area where I feel like the Galaxy Book 6 kind of wins is when it comes to the port selection. Like you have a lot of ports on this. An Ethernet jack, which is gigabit. You have an HDMI port, 2 Type-C ports, which by the way are not Thunderbolt. These are regular Type-C ports. And then on the right-hand side, you have 2 USB-A ports, a combo audio jack, and a micro SD card slot. On the MacBook Air, it's a lot less. You've got your MagSafe connector and 2 Thunderbolt ports, plus your headphone jack. So you've got faster bandwidth if you're connecting a drive or whatever it is, but you have a lot less ports to work with. Maybe you gotta carry a dongle with the MacBook Air, whereas on the Galaxy Book, you absolutely do not have to. And one last thing about performance, like if you're gonna be running Photoshop on any of these laptops, it's gonna run great. Like it's fast enough on both machines. It's not gonna beat the MacBook Air 15 though. The MacBook Air 15 has a much higher score, again, because of that unified memory. If you're buying this for video editing, forget it. This is not a video editing machine. It wouldn't even finish the Premiere Pro Puget bench test. It just got bogged down by the blur effect and couldn't finish it at all. As for battery life, both of these are all-day computers. The new Panther Lake chips are very efficient. I think if you're gonna be doing heavier work, the MacBook Air will give you a full day. This one will struggle a little bit more, like you'll get most of the day, but not make it to the evening. But But when it comes to actual video playback, they're both very long. The efficiency is really comparable on both of these machines. I also want to touch on the ecosystem for 1 second. Like, Apple gives you really good vertical integration between your iPhone, your iPad, your AirPods, all of their devices. Samsung does a really good job as well. It's not as good as Apple's, I'll be honest, but it's hands down the best you're going to get on the Windows side of things. Even my S26 Ultra was instantly connected to this laptop. I didn't have to do anything to set it up. So there's little things like that this laptop does well that other Windows laptops don't. And you also get the benefit of this display being a touchscreen, which the MacBook does not offer. Now, when it comes to upgradability, there's not a lot on both devices, but the Samsung Galaxy Book 6 does have an edge. For one, you have 2 drive slots. This one is populated. You can swap it out if you want something bigger, if you truly want to. And the second slot is empty if you want to add a second drive. The other thing is the Wi-Fi card, even though it's soldered onto the motherboard, is Wi-Fi 7, where it's not on the MacBook Air. This also has a newer version of Bluetooth. This is the cooling solution, as you can see. Battery is 59 watt hours. I think there's a lot of wasted space in here, and they could have put a bigger battery inside. So look, here's the bottom line. And while supplies last, and there seems to be quite a bit of supply still available, the MacBook Air 15 M4 is 100% the better buy. For $1099, you get a better screen, better speakers, a better trackpad. It feels more premium. It's way faster while being completely silent. It's $150 less for a much more premium experience. The Galaxy Book 6 is just in a weird spot. I honestly think it just exists to upsell you to the Pro or to the Ultra, because it's so hard to recommend this laptop at its current price point. A 1080p IPS display that's not even excellent? Come on, Samsung, like, this is not proper. I feel like if you're gonna be buying this, I would only buy this if this was retailing for like $899. Any more than that, you're just reaching. And look, I get it, RAM costs have gone up. It's affected the Windows side of things more than Apple as of right now, but it's so hard to recommend this laptop when this one exists for a cheaper price tag. Either way, if you have any questions about any of these laptops, let me know in the description down below. Also, let me know what laptop you're upgrading from, and maybe I can answer any of your questions. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.